bhgtv. Another, Bethel House of God Ministry.
What you doing out here? Nah, the joy of the Most High is your strength. You gotta come on in. Praise, you're gonna feel a little bit better. The praise don't stop.
This is the day that Jah has made. I'll rejoice and be glad in it. 'Cause in that day I will reach out his hand and save his remnant. Innocent, no blemishes. A heart surrendered to his wish to repent. Open my inbox. Oh, what them questions is? What you gonna do when you get tired? I'll cast my burdens, yep. And you feel like closing your eyes. Let him lead me every step. How you gonna get through all the seas? Supernatural. I'ma just keep making hits for my people. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. Every day I say, this is the day that the Most High has made, and I will be glad and rejoice in it. Every day I say, this is the day that the Most High has made, and I will be glad and rejoice in it. See, that's the only way that I can get through. Praises up, stabilize the mental. Now, I don't really know what they all into. Wood and stone, that ain't my kinfolk. Gotta keep them curses off. Full armor, put the verses on. I just wanna be right when he comes. In the morning, I will give him the praise. In the evening, I will call on his name. This is the way a true soldier is trained. If you really wanna get in them gates, open my messages. What them questions is? 'Cause there's a way we can drink rain from the heavens, yeah. What you gonna do when you get tired? I'll cast my burdens, yeah. And you feel like closing your eyes. Let him lead me every step. How you gonna get through all the seas? Supernatural. I'ma just keep making hits for my people. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. The praise don't stop. No, no, the praise don't stop. Every
Thank you for tuning into Bethel, bhgtv. Like, share, and subscribe. Now our host, Pastor Johnson.
Greetings, 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 my brothers and sisters. Hope everything's going well with everybody. Everything's going well here. We know we got a lot to cover tonight. We want to say welcome to class. Definitely welcome to class, because this is class time, all right? Class time for us to get started, get things going, and all of that good stuff. So I hope that you are enjoying yourself. All of that is always important. It's been a week. As you can just say, I'm just trying to get some things situated here. I want to see who's in the chat room. Let's get that going. And y'all give me just 1 second here. Let's see who is in our chat room tonight. We have quite a few. Let's see here. In our chat room, we have first tonight, Sister K, our sister up in St. Mary's, Georgia. How you doing, Sister K? The Talbot family, thank you for being here tonight. Alva Ellis, thank you for being here. Barbara Shockley, thank you for coming in. Barbara Betton, the Barbers are here tonight. Shanika Jackson, thank you for tuning in. Let me see who else we have. Brother Abraham Talbot, thank you for being here. Got Sister Barbara Betton, Brother Brian Johnson, thank you for coming in tonight. Let's see. How you doing, Brother Brian, all the way down in Homestead, Florida? Alva says, ready for my lesson. Absolutely. We also are showing on the Facebook side. Brother Mario, how you doing? Hope everything's okay up there in Illinois. Sister Veronica Ann, thank you for coming tonight. Ryan, thank you for being here tonight. Franklin Grant is here tonight. Stephanie, how you doing, Sister Stephanie? Thank you for being here. Donna Panquin, thank you for being here. Brother Gerard P, how you doing, Brother Gerard? I'm going to leave that right there while others are coming inside of the chat room. And just wanted to put some up there. There is Brother Ramal. Thank you for coming in here tonight. Let's see who else do we have coming in. The young zealous Hebrew in the building. All right, my brother. Nothing wrong with that. There's Israel's child coming in tonight. Thank you for being here as well, Israel's child. Tonight, I'm gonna just making sure I have some things together. Let me see here. I don't quite have everything. I need to get everything together. I want to go back, brothers and sisters, because it was asked of me concerning our subject last night. I got a lot of responses, and I got a lot of emails today regarding the lesson from last night. And I have to address that lesson from last night. We're going to be doing that because a lot of people had some questions about it. So I want to address it. There we go. I want to address it from last night. And when I addressed this lesson from last night, people were concerned. They says, I never heard of the lunar Sabbath. And I found that a little surprising. Not in total, but it was just interesting that a lot of people have not heard about the lunar Sabbath, okay? So that being said, we're going to address some of this from last night. Now, what is the lunar Sabbath? Let me just see here if I'm just getting my notes together. So y'all give me just 1 second here. So yeah, that's a big question. What is a lunar Sabbath? What is that? What does that mean? What is it? What does it stand for? Where did it come from? And this is big. That's big. The lunar Sabbath. If anybody, if you were here last night, how you doing, Brother Yashar? If you were here last night, Elizabeth Mack, if you were here last night, put a 1 in the chat room. If you were here last night. There you go. If you were here last night, put a 1 in the chat room. If you were here last night. All right. And because that way I know I know how much to go into this. Okay. Good. I'm going to cut my music down a little bit. Good. Okay, great. I'm going to show you all what the lunar Sabbath is. Well, let's start off with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight. We ask that you let the words of our mouth, the meditation of our heart, let it be acceptable in our sight. Lord, be our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Let me just start off. This lesson is an all-important lesson because Sister Veronica says, I listened to the replay. Great. I'll leave these comments up as you all come in. This lesson is all about the feast of the Lord. This one is called the Sabbath, a plan to salvation kept before Sinai. The Sabbath in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, is the first of a series of appointed times given by the God of Israel. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, is a plan to salvation. They're not just dates. They're not just rituals. They are appointed times that mean something. They tell a story. That, brothers and sisters, is important to know. He did not give us these annual feasts and this weekly Sabbath just to be doing it. He didn't just throw them out there just for you to keep them and just to keep dates. They mean something. Satan knows they mean something. Satan understands. He knows that these dates mean something. This is why Satan, it's important for Satan to give you other pagan dates. Christmas that doesn't exist. Bunny rabbit laying eggs, Halloween, all of those things that have nothing to do with anything other than paganism. The feasts of the Lord are given because they mean something. They mean something, brothers and sisters. The Sabbath means something. It's not just, I want you to do this because I just want you to do it. No, they mean something. And once you understand that, you will know what God is doing. You would know what his plan is. You would know his plan for mankind. That's why it's important to understand the feast days, not just to be doing them, okay? Not just to be going out into a campground and living in tents for 7 days because it's the Feast of Tabernacles. It's bigger than that, okay? It's way bigger than that. Just like the Sabbath is way bigger than that. So we're spending some time with this. But Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, we're going to read it because we're just on the first few verses as we move along. And we're going to be moving very methodically. And I want you to understand the plan, but we just can't rush through all of them. We're going to take our time. 2021, you're going to understand them. If you stick with us, stick with this channel, that's what we're going to be teaching. The reason why I brought up the lunar Sabbath, I call it lunar because lunar is moon. There are individuals, and let me show this to you. In the lunar Sabbath, see if I can go there real quick. In the lunar Sabbath, there it is. In the lunar Sabbath, there are people who teach. I'm talking about Hebrews. They teach that every month the Sabbath changes. It's not always on what we commonly call Saturday. Now, there's a lesson I can do later on why Rome called the seventh day. Remember, in the scriptures, the names of the days of the week were not in the scriptures. It was day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. The only day that had a name was the seventh day, and it was called the Sabbath day. And it rotated every 6 days. Then you come to the Sabbath day. Then you would go back to day 1. You would work 6 days, and you had the Sabbath day. It rotated, brothers and sisters. That's what it did. It rotated. It was on a 7th-day weekly cycle. So when somebody says, well, what is the lunar Sabbath? Those who use the doctrine, and last night we showed you through scriptures. I'm not going to go into it tonight because we did it last night, and you can go back and look at that lesson like Sister Veronica N did. I'm just only bringing this up because I got 2 emails, Pastor, what is the lunar Sabbath? Some people thought I was saying loony Sabbath, and I was saying lunar. I have a Midwest accent, and sometimes, well, it's just how it is. So it's the lunar Sabbath. Now, this is what it means, okay? Those who keep the lunar Sabbath, the sun tells you when a day starts and when a day ends. You go by the sun to distinguish one day from the next. When it comes to a month, you use the moon. The new moon starts a new month. Those who observe the lunar Sabbath, what they do is whenever the new month starts, no matter what day of the week it starts on, the first day of the month is called Moon Day. The second day of the month starts your 6-day working cycle. Therefore, the Sabbath will always fall on the 8th day, the 15th, the 22nd, and 29th day of each month. They hold to that. The Sabbath is always the 8th day of the month, the 15th day of the month, and the 22nd day of the month, and the 29th day of the month. So this is how it works. So those who observe the lunar Sabbath, when New Moon Day comes, that's the new moon, then they will go 1, 2, they don't count New Moon Day as day 1, as a work day. They go work day is on the 2nd, is the second day of the month is the first work day. And therefore, when you get to the 7th day of the month, it's been 7 days since the new moon has started. That's really the 6th day of the workday. Again, because they don't count the new moon day, they say that's a day by itself. So therefore, the Sabbath will always fall on the 8th, 7 days later, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. Now, if the new moon comes in on, let's say, a Wednesday, then every Wednesday it's a Sabbath for that month. If the new moon day starts on a Monday, every Monday will be the Sabbath. In this example, we have the new moon coming in on a so-called Saturday. So the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th will always fall on a Saturday. Whatever day this falls on, the Sabbath will be on those days. Now we know that Saturday came from the seventh day by Rome, took on the name Saturn. We know that. So therefore, we know that Sunday took on the name from the sun. So it goes Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We know Monday, Moon Day, all of that, but it still was the first day of the week, the second day, the third day. So the seventh day of the week, Rome called it Saturday or Saturn. Okay? So that's all that means. But for this illustration, those who keep the lunar Sabbath, they have some days right here called transition days. That's when the moon is gone, but the new moon won't come back around. Probably 1 or 2 days at the end of the month. It takes 1 or 2 days for the new moon to come back again. They don't count these at all. They don't count them. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can go 10 days until you come to a Sabbath. So I just wanted to put that out there, but that's not our lesson tonight. So I just wanted to bring that out because somebody asked, can you explain that? So I wanted to do it right now, just in case there was somebody else that did not understand how the lunar month works. Okay. So I'll give you another example. Today is the 24th, okay, of April. So let's say March the 1st. Let me pull this up. Let's say March the 1st is on a Thursday. March the 1st is on a Thursday. That means the 8th day of the month will also be on a Thursday. Because look, let's say March the 1st is a Thursday. So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The 8th day of the month is always a Sabbath. You go 7 more days, that's the following Thursday, that's the 15th. Because the Sabbath to the lunar Sabbath people is always on the 8th day, the 15th, the 22nd, and 29th of the month. So we dealt with that last night, why that doctrine is false, and we showed you in scriptures. Now, here's our lesson tonight, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocation, even these are my feasts. Now I want to bring out a point. A holy convocation. The word convocation means, somebody says, hi, I'm just joining. Is the lunar Sabbath in the scriptures? No, it's not. It's a bad doctrine. Tara, the lunar Sabbath does not exist. There are some people that try to teach that doctrine. I encourage you to look at the lesson from last night later on during the week, so it will bring you up to speed. But no, there is no such a thing as the lunar Sabbath. There are some that try to teach that doctrine, but the Sabbath is always every 7 days. Always. Okay? It's always, and it's been on that cycle. It's on that cycle now. And as far as our intellect and calculations could be, today is the 4th day of the week. It's called Wednesday, but it's the fourth day of the week. In the Bible, it did not have those pagan names attached to it. Rome did that. But the day is the fourth day of the week. Tomorrow is the fifth day of the week. Now, they called it Thursday, but it's the fifth day of the week. And, okay, she says, I got that. Okay, great. Now, these are the feasts, speaking to the children of Israel concerning the feast of the Lord. I want to emphasize this. These are not the feast of the Jews. These are the feasts of the Lord. Don't let everybody understand that these are the feast of the Lord, okay? Which you should proclaim to be holy convocations. A holy convocation, the word convocation means to convene. Convene means to come together. It's required that you come together. Okay? So on all of these feasts of the Lord, they have to be proclaimed or proclamated to be holy convocations. They're not just any gathering, they're holy. Why are they holy? Because they came from the Lord. Even these are my feasts. Notice that the first thing he does is he instructs us this: 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest. So you work 6 days, you rest the seventh day. Now, we do that today. And a lot of people say, well, Pastor, I'm not able to get off or want to get off. You do the best that you can. We know that we're in the land of captivity. Some things, unions, rules, regulations, we know it's all messed up. But when it comes to the seventh day of the week, commonly called Saturday, that is the Sabbath. Do your best to have a holy convocation. Now, that doesn't mean staying at home. We know we're in COVID right now, but it means you must convene. It is a command to convene. You can't, when this COVID is over, you can't sit at home and say, I'm just going to sit at home and I'm just going to watch TV today. You can't do that. Okay, we'll do a lesson on how to observe the Sabbath later, but remember, it's a holy convocation. You should do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. We're going to go to Exodus 31, and we read this last night just to bring out more about it, but we're going to read it tonight because we're going to talk about a very important subject tonight. Let's go over to Exodus 31 and let's go down here to verse number 12. Verse number 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths. Notice that there's an S. It's plural. Why is that? Because when you read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, there are a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them. But the first one he gives us is his weekly rotating Sabbath. We didn't get into all of the other ones. They take place at specific times during certain months. Okay? But in this beginning part of this segment of the Feast of the Lord, we're only referring to the Sabbath and how it relates to being a plan to salvation. Okay? Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. When somebody tells you something is a sign, this is how you identify things. Fraternities have signs, sororities have signs, corporations have signs, McDonald's has a sign, okay? You know when you're walking inside of a McDonald's compared to a Burger King, okay? You know when you're buying a Ford compared to a Chevrolet or a Mercedes, because everything has a sign. The Sabbaths is a sign between us and the God of Israel. That's important. That's how important the Sabbath is. It's a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that do sanctify you. That word sanctify means to set apart. Okay? Ye shall keep the Sabbath. Verse 14 says, you shall keep the Sabbath, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Then he tells us how often we are to do it. Look at verse number 15. 6 days shall work be done, but in the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest, holy unto the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath. That's the 7th day. Every 7 days, brothers and sisters, is a Sabbath. Notice he didn't say the 8th day, the 15th, and the 22nd, and the 29th day of each month is a Sabbath. Notice he didn't say that in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. Why? Because that's a bad doctrine. Okay? Wherefore, verse 16, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. That means everlasting. That word perpetual means everlasting. Why is it? Okay? It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. He tells us why. He gives us more instructions. Okay? He says, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. Now, I want to cover this before we move on, because somebody says, so this is only for the children of Israel. Mainstream Christianity say, I don't have no problem with you keeping the Sabbath if you want to do it, but that's for the children of Israel. Let's go to Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 56. You have to do this, brothers and sisters, because people will try to throw these little curveballs at you. Isaiah 56. Okay, and I want to skip this, but let's look at verse number 2. Blessed is the man that doeth this, and the Son of Man that lay hold on it, that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it, and keepeth his hand from doing any evil. Look at verse number 3. Let not the son of the stranger that hath joined himself to the Lord. Now, we know who the son of the strangers are, okay? Speak, saying, the Lord hath utterly separated me from his people. I'm not going to talk about the eunuch, but look at verse number 6. Also, the sons of the stranger that joined themselves to the Lord. Now, coming out of Egypt, the scripture says there was a mixed multitude along with the children of Israel. A mixed multitude means there were people of other nations from around the area that came out with Israel. That's why he said there was a mixed multitude. And that's why in Numbers, the 15th chapter, verse 15, he says the same law that's for Israel is the same law for those that join themselves and sojourn with Israel. Okay? The sons of the stranger that join themselves to the Lord to serve him and to love the name of the Lord, to be his servants. Everyone that keepeth the Sabbath from polluting it and taking hold of my covenant. Even them will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. Here's why. For mine house shall be called the house of prayer for all people. Now, this is important to understand. Now, We covered a lot of this last night, and tonight we're going to go into another very important point, because a lot of people will say, especially those in the urban apologist movement, those in the mainstream Christianity movement, they say that the commandments are nailed to the cross. And they also say that the Sabbath was never observed by anybody until the covenant agreement on Mount Sinai. So they use that to say there is no biblical proof that anybody kept the Sabbath until he gave it to the children of Israel. So therefore, today he took it away, and now Christ is the Sabbath. Okay? That's what they teach. We're going to deal with that right now, because if it's the plan to salvation, it was kept before Sinai. And I'm going to show that to you tonight in this lesson. The Sabbath was kept before, brothers and sisters, before the Ten Commandments was given. In fact, the commandments were kept before. That wasn't the first time that the commandments was kept. They were given in written form. Okay, so understand that when people say, well, show me where. We're going to do that tonight. Okay, you're going to get that tonight. So that being said, let's see here. I had a notebook, and I want to grab my notebook, and I want to deal with some of this. Okay, so even today, this evening, just taking down notes, and I want to grab something. I'm going to do that. I need to grab my other notebook, but before I do that, I'm just going to play this song while I go grab my notebook. It won't even make it all the way through. Probably I need 35 seconds. So I'm going to put this up, and you all in the chat room, let people know I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to get my notebook. I'll be right back. brothers and sisters. Thank you for being patient with me. If you back here with me, put a 1 in the chat rooms, just so I know y'all are here with me. Put a 1 in the chat room, because we're going to get into a very deeper part. I just want to make sure y'all are still here with me. So if you're still here with me, put a 1 in the chat room. All right, put a 1 in the chat room. I want to make sure y'all are still with me, because what we're going to be getting into tonight is the fact that the Sabbath, there you go. I normally do not like doing that, but what we're going to be getting into is that the Sabbath was kept. See, this is a plan to salvation. The Sabbath was kept along at the very beginning. I'm going to show you that, because what you're going to have is people say, well, the Sabbath wasn't kept by Adam. It wasn't kept by Noah. It wasn't kept by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Sabbath didn't come on the picture until Mount Sinai. I'm going to show you different tonight. Get your book, your paper, your pencil, because you're gonna need to get this, because the argument is always going to be put there. Okay, so let's deal with this. I got my Bible ready. So let's talk about when did people start? When did the fathers start to keep the Sabbath? When did they start keeping? Now we know as Israel, we are required, brothers and sisters, to keep the Sabbath. We are required. But the question is, some people say, well, okay, y'all got to keep it, but that was the children of Israel. Show me where somebody else kept it. And that's what we're going to deal with, okay? When people say that, that's wrong. And when people say that the commandments have done away with, that's wrong. Okay? Before Moses gave it to the children of Israel, the Sabbath and the commandments was done from the very beginning. So we're going to prove that to you. Let's go to Genesis, the first chapter. Let me get my Bible set up here. Genesis, the first chapter. So we're going to show you that this Sabbath was kept at the very, very, very beginning. Genesis 1, and we're going to go to verse number 27. This is what it said. So God created man in his own image, and the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. Okay? Now, we know here's mankind made, male and female. I'm going to skip down to verse number 31. Verse 31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Now, here's what we want to get. Man was created, brothers and sisters, we know, on the sixth day. That's where I want you to get at from this so far. Man and woman was created on the sixth day, on day 6, okay? Now, don't lose that part, but let's go to the next chapter, very next chapter. Verse 1, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his works which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his works which he had made. Look at verse number 3, brothers and sisters. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his works which God created and made. So what we see is the seventh day was blessed, it was sanctified, and that means to be set apart. Okay? No other day was set apart. No other day was holy. Okay? It wasn't the first day is not a holy day. The second day is not a holy day. The third day is not a holy day. The only day that he blessed was the seventh day. Okay? So when people start telling you, well, every day is holy, every day is not holy. Well, he blessed every day. He didn't bless every day. The scriptures don't say that. Okay? And the seventh day, verse 2, and the seventh day God ended his works which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all the works which he had made, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it. It means that was the day that he sanctified. That was the day he set apart, and that's important to know. Okay? Now, when he did this, we know that he told this to Adam. We know this. Some people get just ignorant. Like, well, show me where he gave it to Adam or he told Adam. Why? Who else is he going to tell? Who else is he going to tell? Of course he told Adam. Of course he told Adam. Of course he told Adam, this is the day that I'm blessed. This is the day I'm sanctified. Okay? He communicated with Adam. And if somebody thinks that the God of Israel failed to tell Adam that this was a seventh day, that this was a sanctified day, you gotta be crazy. Because remember, Adam is a representation of God at the beginning of creation. Adam was made on day 6, and when the seventh day came, the Lord told him automatically, this day is a Sabbath. This day is a holy day. We know he told him that. So let's prove it. Let's go to the book of Mark. Let's show that he would even tell Adam this, because he's not going to just make it and then not tell Adam about it. Let's go to Mark, the 2nd chapter. Let's go down to verse number 27. This is what it says, brothers and sisters. Mark, the 2nd chapter, and we're going to pick it up in verse number 27. And he said unto them, listen to this, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Listen to this. The Sabbath was made for man, and it was made to give man a rest from all of his labors. So why would he create a day that he sanctified and not tell Adam about it? See, people don't make sense. They don't make sense when they talk like this. Okay? So the Sabbath was made for men. In other words, it was made for Adam. It was made for him. And not man for the Sabbath. He intended for man to have a day of rest. Okay? And this is important, brothers and sisters. And listen to this. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. That means the Son of Man is Christ. And it was made. This thing, remember, Adam created on the 6th day. The Lord rested. And when he created man, or Adam, and he told him about it so Adam could have a day of rest. He would not make it and not tell him about it. And we know that he told him, and we know that they did not break the Sabbath. We know that they didn't go against the Sabbath. Somebody asked me the other day, I was in the chat room, and they said, how do you explain, Pastor? They was doing, it's one of those people from the UA community. And they said, how did you explain that Adam and Eve sinned when there was no commandments given? How do you explain that? And my reply was, any instructions given by God are commandments. Any instructions given by him are commandments. Don't matter what they are. So we know Adam and Eve did not break the Sabbath. When they broke the Sabbath, when they broke the commandments, is when he told them not to eat or not to talk to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. When they did that, they sinned because they went against the instructions of God. And we know that they taught their children. We know, let me say this, we know that Adam and Eve taught their children also to keep the Sabbath. I'm going to show that to you. Let's go ahead. Let's go to Genesis, the 5th chapter. Genesis, let's go to Genesis, the 5th chapter. We know Adam and Eve taught their children to keep this too. Let's go Genesis 5 and 24. 5 and 24. This is what it says. And Enoch walked with God and was not, for God took him. Now the question is, what does it mean that Enoch walked with God? Because he knew of the ways of God. He knew of it. That's how do you walk with God unless you not know his ways? And who taught him? Adam. And therefore, he knows about the Sabbath and he knows the purpose of the Sabbath. Not only did he know what the purpose of it was, he kept the Sabbath. How do you know that? Let's go to Hebrews. Let's go to the book of Hebrews. Let's go to Hebrews. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, the 5th chapter, and we're going to jump over to verse number 11. Listen to this. Of whom we have many things to say. I don't know if I'm at the right verse. Let me look at my notes here. I'm at Hebrews, the 5th chapter. I want Hebrews, the 11th chapter, not the 5th chapter. I'm up there reading this. Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11. And we're going to go down to verse number 5. Hebrews 11 and 5. By faith, Enoch was translated, that he should not see death, and was not found. Why? Because God had translated him. Why? Listen to this. For before his translation, he had this testimony, that he pleased God. Brothers and sisters, how do you please God unless you're doing his instructions, unless you're walking in his way? It's got to make sense. You can't please God unless you're walking in his way. And he's following God's example. If he wasn't keeping the Sabbath, he would have been in opposition. He would have been in direct opposition of what God instructed. And what did he say? He blessed the Sabbath day and sanctified it. Adam knew it, Eve knew it, and this is evidence that they made sure that their descendants knew it. So Enoch, as we just read, let's go back to that. Verse 24. Genesis 5 and 24, Enoch walked with God and was not, for God took him. How do you walk with God? You can't walk with God unless you're doing what he instructed to you to do. So when we go to Genesis 11 chapter verse 5, By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death and was not found. Why? Because God had translated him. Why? For before his translation, he had his testimony. He had his testimony. And what was that? That he pleased God. You cannot please God unless you're doing everything that he said do. So when it says, and the Lord blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, we know he kept the Sabbath, brothers and sisters. Now, let's go to the time of Noah before the flood came. And we're going to go to Genesis. We're going to go to the days of Noah before the flood, brothers and sisters. We're going to go to Genesis, the 6th chapter, and let's go to verse number 7. This is what it says. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. Why? For it repenteth me that I have made them. Okay? Why? Because he's upset. He's upset with them. Okay? But look at verse number 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Out of everybody on earth, why did Noah find grace with the Lord? Why? Because, let's look at verse number 9. Let's look at verse number 9. The scriptures tell us why Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Look at verse number 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And check this out. And Noah walked with God. Just like we read that Noah did. Enoch did. Guess who else did? Noah did. You cannot walk with God unless you're doing what he has instructed. And he gave it to Adam. He gave the Sabbath to Adam. Adam taught his children. We know that Enoch did it because he walked with God. And now we know that Noah did it because he's walking with God. Okay? And it says he was a just man and perfect in his generations. What made him just? What made him perfect? What makes you perfect, brothers and sisters? Okay? I want to show this to you real quick. I want to show this to you. Look at those words. A just man and perfect. Let's go to Luke real quick. Luke. Let's go to Luke, the 1st chapter. Let me just show this to you real quick. Look at Luke, the 1st chapter, verse 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. This is important to understand, brothers and sisters. Okay? So what made Noah righteous? He wasn't rebellious like everybody else was. He followed the ways of the Lord. And a part of following the ways and walking in his ways is keeping the Sabbath. Enoch did it. Adam did it. Noah did it. All in the same lineage. And not only did Noah do it, brothers and sisters, guess what? He taught it. He taught it. Let me show that to you. And let's go to 2 Peter. Not only did Noah do it, he taught it. Let's go to 2 Peter. We're going to go all the way over to the book of 2 Peter. So this is what we call putting line upon line, precept upon precept. And yeah, they don't like when I say, there you go. That's all the Hebrew people say. Line upon line, precept upon precept. Absolutely. 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter, let's pick it up in verse number 5. Listen to what it says. Verse number 5. And spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person. Listen to this. This is important. Look at the next part. A preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. Bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So it says here that Noah, the 8th person, was a preacher of righteousness. See, we're getting something here, brothers and sisters, which means he was teaching to follow the commandments and the instructions of God. And we know the Lord set apart the 7th day as being holy. And we know if Noah kept it, because Enoch kept it, because Adam kept it, we know Noah taught his children. We know that. Let's look at this. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis, the 6th chapter. And I'm showing you that he even taught his children. Look at verse number 10. And Noah begot 3 sons. Who are they? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, we know that Ham and Japheth, we know they had some issues. But we know Shem, brothers and sisters, did. Why? Because Shem is the forefather of Abraham. Okay? That's who Abraham came from. He came from Shem. Okay? Listen to this. Which means if Shem did it, because Noah taught him. So you can teach your children something, but that don't mean that they're going to do it. Okay? We know that if Noah was righteous, and look at verse right here, he walked with God, and he begat 3 sons. You can teach your children. You can train up your children, but that doesn't mean that that's what they're always going to do. So we know Hamites, they did their thing. Japhite, they did their thing. But Shem, who came from Noah, learned it. And he also taught his children, being Abraham. Okay? Let's go to Genesis, the 26th chapter. Let me just show you this, because Abraham came from Shem. Let's go to Genesis, the 26th chapter, and we're going to pick it up in verse number 4. Verse number 4, okay? It says, and God is speaking to Abraham, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and I will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Why? Look at verse 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, he kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Listen, here's the thing. Some people will argue with you and they say, this ain't proof that Abraham kept the Sabbath. They hate using this scripture. They really hate using this. I'm talking about people who when you show them this, oh, that's not proof enough for me. That's not proof enough for me. Right now, I'm tired of trying to prove to people after you read the word. Because if after you read the word and people don't get it, they're not debating with me. You're debating with the scripture. So if anybody that's in mainstream Christianity and seminary school, and you think the Sabbath it don't exist and it wasn't given to them, and Abraham didn't do it, and the first time this thing came on the picture was on Mount Sinai. Let's read verse 5 again. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice. He didn't only just obey what he heard, he kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Look at that. I'm going to highlight it. So he listened to any instructions God gave him, any instructions that God gave him, and he kept his charge, and his commandments, and his statutes, and my laws. Y'all see the difference here? You got his voice, but you also got his commandments, his statutes, and his laws. So basically, Abraham did everything he was instructed. But the issue is, what are the commandments? What are the statutes? What are the laws? It's the same ones, brothers and sisters, that we are commanded to keep today. Same ones, okay? I'm talking about the same ones that we keep today is the same ones that they're talking about right here. Same ones. So let's go to the scripture and let's prove that to you. Let's go to Genesis and let's go to the 18th chapter. Let's skip all the way down. See, we have to read this so everybody can get it. Let's read verse number 17. Verse 17. And the Lord said, this is the Lord said, okay? This is the Lord said. This ain't nobody. This is the Lord speaking. This is what the Lord said. Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? The God of Israel is talking here, brothers and sisters. And he's saying, the Lord said, this is the God of Israel. Shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him. Because remember, it's through Abraham a lot of things are going to be done. So he's not going to keep nothing from Abraham. Look at verse number 19, brothers and sisters. Let me leave this highlight. Look at verse number 19. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord. So listen to this. I know Abraham is going to command his children. Command his children what? Again, this is before the commandments and statutes were given in written form to the children of Israel. Because a lot of people say, that's the first time the commandments ever came into existence. You know why people say stupid stuff like that? Because they don't read. They don't read. We're reading it now, but they don't read. And you know why they don't want to read? You know why they don't want to, they ignore this? Because they feel like that the commandments, they want to say man live righteous without the commandments. See, that's the motive behind this. Let me come in here. The motive behind this madness is they want to teach that the commandments don't exist today and man is living righteous. Like man lived, and to them, man lived righteous without the commandments. Before the commandments came, man lived righteous. So therefore, when the Messiah came, he took the commandments away, and we are doing like the days that people lived righteous before the commandments came. You see, this is why they don't want this type of teaching. Because see, this type of teaching is going to debunk that type of teaching that man live righteous without the commandments, laws, statutes, and of God. See, this knocks us out of park. It's not, this is, because it's madness that they try to bring here. So let's go with this. Let's see, where am I at? Right here. Verse number 19. For I know him that he will command. When you command somebody to do something, brothers and sisters, you are instructing them. Just like the person in one of these chat rooms the other night, they says, how did Adam and Eve sin when there were not any commandments? Whenever you are given instructions from the Most High and you break them, any instructions he gives is commandments. Just like when he says, 6 days should you labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is Sabbath. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all of them that is, and rested the 7th day. Trust me, he taught that to Adam. So don't let people follow you in for that, okay? Don't let them follow you in for that. Now, I want to go back for a second because I want to go back to this where we read it earlier. We're at Genesis, the 18th chapter. Look at verse 17. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Am I going to hide anything from Abraham? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him. Listen to this, because they have a relationship, brothers and sisters. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord. So he knew Abraham would teach them the way. The way of who? The way of the Lord. The way of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So what is the way? What is the way of the Lord? Let's go to the scriptures. Let's go to Judges. Let's go to the book of Judges. And we're going to go to the 2nd chapter. And we're going to go over to verse 20. 2nd chapter, verse 20. Listen to this. And the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he says, because that this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice. So the question is, what is the covenant that they transgressed against? It was the laws, it was the statutes, and it was the commandments. And a part of those commandments was to keep the Sabbath day. Brothers and sisters, that was one of the main things that Israel had a problem with. And that's walking in his way. So when you're going to walk in his ways, you are going to do what he said do. You're going to do what he says do. That's what it means by when you are walking in his way. You can't walk in his way unless you're keeping his commandments. Let's look at the next verse, 21. Let's see, where am I at? I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. Okay? So this is the penalty for not walking in his ways. Okay? This is the penalty. Listen to this. And that through them, in other words, those nations that he left behind, that through them I may prove Israel. I'm going to see what they're going to do. That's what that is. I'm going to prove Israel. I'm going to test Israel. I'm going to see if they're ready or not. Prove them for what? That I may prove Israel whether they will keep the way of the Lord to walk therein. Now, the reason why I brought up this scripture is because I want to go back here. Let's go back to Genesis. Verse 17, and the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him? For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall, listen to this, keep the way of the Lord. So now let's go back so we can understand what does it mean by when you keep the way of the Lord. The anger of the Lord was hot against Israel. And he said, because this people have transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers, and have not hearkened unto my voice, I also will not henceforth drive out any from before them of the nations which Joshua left when he died. Because he left back 5 nations of the Philistines, that through them I may prove Israel. I'm going to test them, whether they will, listen to this, keep the way of the Lord to walk therein. So when it says that Enoch walked with the Lord, there's only one way to walk with the Lord, and that's to keep his commandments. I want to know if they're going to keep the way of the Lord to walk therein as their fathers did keep it or not. I want to see which one they're going to do. Okay? So that's what he wanted to know. I want to know if they're going to do as their fathers did keep it, or whether they are not going to do it. So he wanted them to walk in his ways, walk in his laws and statutes. That's the way of the Lord. Okay? I'm just going back to Genesis 18 and verse 19. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, that they shall keep the way of the Lord. He knew that Abraham was going to teach his children. Why? Because Abraham himself did it. What did Abraham keep? He kept the Sabbath. Listen to this. To do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. Now let's go back. I want to go back to Genesis 26. Look at verse number 5. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Okay? There it is. There it is, brothers and sisters. So now we can understand Abraham was, brothers and sisters, keeping the Sabbath day. And we also read that he kept his children. From Adam all the way down to Abraham, kept the Sabbath way before Moses was even born. Way before Moses was ever born. Now, let's go to Exodus, the 26th chapter. Exodus, the 16th chapter. Exodus, the 16th chapter. Exodus, the 16th chapter. Now, believe it or not, is this where I want to go at? 16. Yeah. Go to Exodus. We're going to go to Exodus, the 16th chapter, verse 25. Now listen to this. Y'all see that there? Now this right here that I'm getting ready to read in the 16th chapter of Exodus, verse 25, this is before Moses even gave the commandments to the children of Israel from Mount Sinai. What we're getting ready to read right now. Check this out. And Moses said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye should not find it in the field, Now, again, brothers and sisters, this is before the Ten Commandments was even given to Moses to give to the children of Israel. What we're reading now is before the commandments was even given. Look at that again. And Moses said, "Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field." This is before the Ten Commandments were ever given to the children of Israel, written on tables of stone. So the question is now, how did Moses know that this was the Sabbath? He was taught. Look at verse number 26. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. So you can see Moses gave them everything that they needed to know about the Sabbath. Okay? Look at verse 27. "And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none." What were they doing? Breaking the Sabbath. Look at verse 28. "And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?" I hope y'all got that. I hope y'all, if you all got that, if you just picked up on this, put the number 7 in the chat room for the Sabbath. If you got what we just read. Remember, this is before the children of Israel had ever received the commandments written by God on finger. And listen to what he said. Moses said, "Eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none." Verse 27, "And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none." And what did the Lord say? This is before the commandments was ever given, class. Listen to what the Lord is saying. "And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?" This is big. This is big. This is big. And he said that because their forefathers were keeping it. They were keeping it. Adam kept it all the way down to Enoch, all the way down to Noah, all the way down to Abraham, and all the way down. And he's telling them that because all of them kept it. In this case, Israel and some of the people after them in those days, they started to be rebellious. We know that they were rebellious because the Bible says that Noah and the whole earth is wicked. "How long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws?" He couldn't say that, brothers and sisters, unless there was a time in which they were doing this. We know that there was a time that they did not do it or they got wicked. Look at verse number 29. "See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he giveth you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day." So the people rested on the 7th day, before Moses even gave the law to Moses. Since before the Lord gave it to Moses on Mount Sinai, they were already keeping the Sabbath. Already keeping it. Already keeping the Sabbath, brothers and sisters. This is something that the mainstream Christianity who tries to make an excuse needs to see this. Now, let's go to Exodus. And we're going to go to the 20th chapter. And we're going to pick it up in verse number 8. Verse number 8. Listen to what it says. Let me skip down into verse 8 so y'all can see it. Listen to this. This is in the commandments, written by God's own finger. The only one that says the word remember. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Look at verse number 9. 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. Look at verse 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. But brothers and sisters, a lot of people, whether they're in the UA community, mainstream theology, mainstream seminary school, they think that this is the first time that the Sabbath has ever been given. They teach this is the first time. Noah didn't keep the Sabbath. Adam didn't keep the Sabbath. Enoch didn't keep the Sabbath. Abraham didn't keep the Sabbath. We're getting something tonight, brothers and sisters. We are getting something tonight. The only thing he's doing now is reestablishing. At one time they kept it, then they start ignoring it. Yeah. So now he's telling them to remember it. Because before then, their forefathers ignored it. Before the Egyptian captivity. They ignored the Sabbath. Look at verse 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. And all he's doing here is reestablishing it, brothers and sisters. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 5, and we're going to read verse 12. Listen to this. Now, this is Moses telling the story how Israel was given the commandments from Mount Sinai. Listen to this. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. Now look at the word sanctified. That means set apart. Okay? Moses is telling the story again. Now when did he do that? When did he make the seventh day holy? Not during the time of Moses, not on Mount Sinai, from the time of creation. Think about it, brothers and sisters. You mean that people are teaching that the Sabbath was given at the very beginning of time, and the Lord didn't tell nobody until he's just now telling people here? That, my brothers and sisters, let me get up on this. That makes no sense at all. Stop it. Stop it, mainstream Christians. Stop it, mainstream pastors. Stop it, seminary schools. If you paying for seminary school $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to get that teaching, stop it. Read the book for yourself. Just read it. That's why he says, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. They don't read. Reading is something nobody wants to do. Why? Because reading is like kryptonite. Like kryptonite is to Superman. People don't want to do it. They fall asleep. As soon as they open up the Bible and start reading, they read for 5 minutes and start falling asleep. They might do all books that way. Stop it. Let's open up the book and let's read. You don't read. There's no way after all the scriptures we gave tonight that you can believe that Adam didn't keep the Sabbath and he didn't teach his children all the way down to Enoch, to Noah, to Abraham. None of Shem. Shem had to be taught it in order for Abraham to have it. Come on. Come on, we need to stop this. We really do. We really do. Okay? We really have to stop this. Let's keep going. Look at verse 13. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor thy ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well as thou. Why is he doing this? Because the children of Israel were forced in Egypt. They were forced in Egypt to work every day. They were forced when they were in Egypt. So now he's coming back because they was there quite a long time. So now he's coming back and he's reestablishing what was already an understanding from the very beginning of time. Look at verse 15. And remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. Because here you didn't have a choice. And that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. In other words, I brought y'all out of that mess. I brought you out of that mess. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. So now he gives them a rest. Even in Egypt, they knew about the Sabbath. But because they were in captivity, they were under the power of Pharaoh, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So the Sabbath day wasn't something new. Moses was sent by God, the God of Israel, to reestablish what was already done from the beginning of time. So the question is, when? When did the Sabbath start? At the very beginning. From Adam. From Adam. All the way from the beginning, brothers and sisters. So this is important, because what I don't want to do is start to go into Leviticus the 23rd, because we're already in it now. I'm going to go back over to Leviticus the 23rd chapter. Let's go back over there, because this is the plan to salvation. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them, concerning the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. 6 days shall work be done. When was this given? At the very beginning of time. The very beginning of time. All the way to Adam. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. This is not the first time. Exodus, the 20th chapter, is not the first time. All the way, everybody understood it. We showed that to you in the word tonight. You should do no work therein is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Why is that? Because the Sabbath is pointing to his plan. That's what it's pointing to, his plan. A day unto the Lord is 1,000 years to mankind. And 1,000 years of our time is like a day unto the Lord. So what is he trying to show you? He's trying to show you that mankind is given 7 days in the flesh. 7 days, 7,000 years in the flesh. So from the creation of man, from the creation of man to the flood has been 2,000 years. And from the flood of Noah getting on the other side to the death, burial, and resurrection of our Savior was another 2,000 years. And from that time to now has been another 2,000 years. That is 6 days or 6,000 years. On the seventh day, which is why we observe the Sabbath, not only for creation purposes, not only to rest from all of our labors, but also to commemorate his coming, his return. When he returns, it will be the 7,000 years on earth. And during that 1,000 years, Satan will be bound. So not only are we keeping the Sabbath because he rested on the seventh day, but what he is showing is in doing that, there will be a time that there will be rest on the earth for 1,000 years. Why? Because he's going to be reigning. Look at Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Let's go read that. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Hebrews, the 4th chapter. Listen to this. Let us therefore, or y'all can't see it. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest. Now, remember, every week we enter into that rest, but it's to commemorate, brothers and sisters, not only him resting on during creation, it's also because we're going to enter into his rest on the seventh day or during the 7,000 year for 1,000 years on that seventh day. Let us therefore fear lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. For unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, meaning Israel. Why? It wasn't mixed with faith in them that heard it. For we which have believed do enter into rest. As he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place on the seventh day on this wise, and God did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Listen to this. Verse 6, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached, Israel, entered not in because of unbelief. They didn't enter what? The promised land. Why? Because of unbelief. They got caught up in the wilderness. He had to kill them all off. So they didn't enter in. The Sabbath is a sign of us entering into his rest during the 1,000 years that he will reign here on earth, brothers and sisters. Israel is a microcosm of the world. That's what it is. If you want to know what's going to happen, look at the history of Israel. That's all you got to do. So Israel did not enter into his rest because of unbelief. And I can tell you right now, a lot of people is not going to enter into the kingdom that's going to be set up here on earth. Why? Because of unbelief. Just like he had to fight with people back then just to keep his Sabbath, he's fighting with people today to keep his Sabbath. And those same people who he's fighting and they just keep rejecting the word no matter how much you show them, they're not going to enter in. I'm telling you, they're not going to enter in. For he spake, verse 4, in a certain place on the seventh day on this wise. And God did rest the seventh day from all his works. And in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, seeing, verse 6, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein. And they to whom it was first preached, Israel, entered not in because of unbelief. Look at verse 7. Again, he limited a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. And these people, they can hear it all day. Oh, no. Paul says you don't have to keep the Sabbath. They can hear it today. Oh, no. The Sabbath has been dealt away with. It's been nailed to the cross. Today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Jesus, look at verse number 8. Now, some people say, oh, this is talking about Joshua. Well, guess what? Joshua is a similitude and a foreshadow of Christ. Because it was Joshua that took them into the promised land. It was Joshua who took them into the promised land, brothers and sisters. Who's going to take us into the promised land? Christ, when he returns. The dead in Christ shall rise first. And those of us that remain shall be caught up to meet him in the air. And we're going to take on that take off the flesh body and become spirit like him. Because he's the first fruits of the resurrected. And those of us that are in the first resurrection, we are the first of the harvest to become spirit. And we're going to live and reign with Christ right during the millennium, when spirit and man cohabitate. Somebody say, well, what do you mean? How's that going to happen? Jesus is the first fruits. What did he do after he resurrected? He was living and seen by several 100,000 people for over 40 infallible days. That's what the apostles said. So what are you going to do? He's showing you how things are going to be during his reign on earth. Y'all remember the doors been shut and he appeared right in the midst and said, peace be unto you. That's how it's going to be during the millennium. Those of us that are in the first resurrection, we're going to be spiritual bodies. We're going to be living in, people are going to be on earth. They might be driving, whatever the case is, and I'm giving you a paraphrase, of course, and we might say, hey, how are you doing? That's what Jesus did to the disciples. The doors were shut. He appeared. They thought that they had seen the ghost. He said, wait a minute, how y'all think? Come on now. For if Jesus had given them rest, verse 8, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? See, this is enough to make people, you know what they do? Oh, this is not, that's a misprint. It's not really Jesus. He's talking about Joshua. That ain't what my book says. For if Jesus had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? Joshua didn't have another day to speak of. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. This is in the book of Hebrews, during the times of the letters of Paul. Listen to this. For he that is entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works, as God did from his. Let us labor. Right now we're laboring, brothers and sisters, as we every Sabbath, we labor to keep the Sabbath. Right now on earth, we are laboring to do what? Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest, lest any man shall fall after the example of unbelief. What example? The children of Israel. What did they do? They were full of unbelief. Moses goes up to Mount Sinai. He was gone up there to commune and talk with God. They said, let's make us a calf because we don't know where he's at. We don't even know if he's coming back. So they made a calf. God gave them manna every day. Gave them manna on every day. On the sixth day, he gave them double. And what did they do? He opened up the Red Sea. What did they do? They cried, they murmured. Unbelief. You got us all the way out here, man, and we ain't got no water. Hebrews back then are like, I'm not going to say it, but they like Hebrews are today. They get you upset, they get you angry. Just like today. And you know what Moses said? He got in trouble. He got in trouble fooling with Israel. He got in trouble. Let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief. For the word of God is quick, powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. Brothers and sisters, I hope that you got something out of this lesson tonight. The feast of the Lord, the Sabbath, kept from the very beginning of time. We can't go into Leviticus. We can't leave Leviticus. This is when we read Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and this is the plan to salvation, you must understand the role of the Sabbath. God is trying to tell you something. Just even observing the Sabbath today, it signifies a plan. It's letting you know what God is going to do. On the seventh day, brothers and sisters, he's returning. And right now, it's the sixth day. The sixth day is getting ready to end. He's given us all the signs. We got them. You read Matthew 24th chapter, we got all the signs. All the signs are right before us right now. As soon as that tribulation comes, we're looking at the signs of the tribulation getting it together. We're watching the nations getting themselves together. So this is what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters. This is the plan to salvation. And it starts with the Sabbath. The plan starts with the Sabbath. Salvation is when you become spirit. We're going to be getting into this. We're in the very onset of it. I encourage you to go back and listen to the lesson last night and the lesson tonight. And just to recap before we go, we wanted to show that there is no lunar Sabbath. It means when the moon comes, then you start counting 7 days after the first day of the month. We wanted to debunk that. This is on a rotating basis because the Sabbath is pointing toward the return of the Son when he returns and sits on the seat of David. That's important to know. And the Sabbath is not new. That's what we got tonight. It's not new. God did it from the beginning. He gave it to Adam. Adam and Eve taught it to their children. We went all the way down to Enoch, Noah, Noah gave it to Shem. We read in the scripture Ham and Japheth, they had some issues. Shem taught Abraham. Abraham taught his children. We read that tonight. And we learned and showed where Moses was telling the children of Israel to keep the Sabbath even before it was given in written form on tables of stone. Why? Because they always have done it, brothers and sisters, always. That's our lesson tonight. That's our lesson. If you got any questions pertaining to tonight's lesson, put a Q in the chat room, and I'll look at that right now for a few moments. Because what we're doing is we're keeping these sessions within hour and a half, 2 hours. So when you go back, it's not too strenuous to look at. Okay? But if there is a question, I will answer it. Just put a Q. But it must be in relation to the lesson tonight. I want to thank all of you all for supporting this platform. If you're not a supporter and you'd like to be a supporter, you can do so right there. You can become a monthly sponsor on our Patreon account. Patreon is, you can put this in your web browser, bhgtv.online/Patreon. That will take you straight to a link. And it says a minimum of $5. You can give your debit card information and it will take it out the same day of the month. You can do 5, you can do 50, you can do whatever you want to do every month. And this is how we pay for a lot of the subscriptions that we have. If you're not giving in a ministry, you should. You should. And we recommend Bethel. You can do that right there. bhgtv.online/donate. That will take you straight to PayPal. You can do your tithes and your offering there every month, brothers and sisters. We're doing a lot at Bethel. We got a lot more to do. Or you can do it by Cash App right there. That's our Cash App. Give me a call. I got people that called. They said, "Man, I thought I was going to leave a message, Pastor Johnson. I didn't expect to get you. I wanted to just ask the question. If I can answer, I answer right there. 1-833-423-8435. I had a couple calls today regarding last night's lesson. I took the call and was able to deal very cordially with them. That's our email, beththehouseofgod@gmail.com. I want to thank all of you all for coming to class tonight. All praises to the Most High. Sister Veronica N. Blessings and praises to all of you all. Shout out to Coach, who is one of our moderators tonight. I don't know if the others are here, but to all of you all. And those that are on our Facebook side, thank you for tuning in. We are simulcasting right now through the type of software we have. Thanks to you all for your support, we're able to get software that allows us to go out to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. We have a song that we're going to leave you all with, and this song is, yes, please hit the like button. That will build up the algorithm so others will be alerted to this lesson tonight. Tomorrow night, we have a very, very good lesson coming from the Balm of Gilead radio show, Brother Julius and Company. We'll be tuned in tomorrow night at 8:30. We'll be bringing our lesson back on Friday night. Somebody says the code for Bible class was wrong. The code. Help me out, Sister Barbara. I don't know if you're talking about that or what. So let me know. If you can put that in the chat room for me. so I can understand what you say that the code for Bible class is wrong. Help me out, my sister. That's Sister Barbara Benton up in West Palm Beach, Florida. Yeah, so let me know. I'll wait till you type that inside there. Tomorrow night, Balm of Gilead radio show. Oh, sorry, prayer line, the prayer line. I gave the wrong code. Okay, the code for, okay. So what I would do is I would thank you, Sister Barbara, for letting me know that. I will look at it because I need to update it and look at it. So I will fix that before Sabbath. Brothers and sisters, just a few announcements on Sundays. We'll be running the broadcast. We're trying to run BHGTV like a broadcast on Sundays. We'll be bringing two shows. One definitely called Stick to the Script. There's another one, Brothers of the Vineyard. We're trying to arrange and get the video and all like that. And so we'll be coming 7 days. So just wanted to let you know that. Tune in and get more from that. This Sabbath at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be tuning in to Pastor Bowie live from the Riverdale, the Israel of God, on the 4th of the 5th lesson of the series dealing with the history of the Bible according to the prophets. You don't want to miss that. All right? That being said, we're going to play this song, Coming from our brothers and the sisters out of Atlanta, Georgia. It's very befitting for Bible History Month. This is a song called Not Worthy. The video was put together by our brothers and sisters from the Israel of God in Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to all of them in Atlanta, Georgia. And also, I'm going to go ahead and play after that the hem of his garment. Shout out to our brothers and sisters in Dallas, Texas. Our prayers for all of those in Dallas, Texas. They have been going through a lot of things. Prayerfully, things are starting to recover now. People are starting to get their electric back on. A lot of busted water pipes. One of the coldest winters that they have experienced in a long time. I won't brag, but the weather has been 80 degrees in South Florida. So, but thank the Lord for that. You know, there's times and seasons where we have our issues too. But let's keep our brothers and sisters in prayer over there. All right. Brother Holden says, thank you once again, Pastor. This was very powerful teaching. Thank you once again. I'll pray. Yes, all praises to the Most High, Brother Holden. Peace and blessings. Here is Israel of God, Atlanta, Georgia, Not Worthy. You're going to enjoy this. This was made by them, this video. And then after that, the hem of his garment from the Israel of God out of Dallas, Texas. Peace and blessings to you. We'll see you tomorrow night.
I am not sure.
That's a very good job.
Can I read that one?
No, this ain't for little black. Well, this is for God-fearing Christians like me. For God-fearing Christians like me.
hem of his garment. The man of Galilee touched the hem of his garment.
Deuteronomy 28. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Most High God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. But if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Most High, to observe and do all his commandments, then curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All these lies and delusions, wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of the light. I am awakened, I am awakened.
Israelites seek out the ways of the heathen to make a covenant with Satan's government. Turn their face away from the Most High, evil desire. 2 Kings 17 said they passed their sons and daughters through the fire. They begin cutting divine spiritual ties, clinging to the heathen lies. Evil spirits bind, breaking souls, breaking spirits, ripping flesh, breaking minds. Running from the Most High wrath on the blood-stained path. 70 AD, Israelites fall. The Most High's chosen seed go into captivity. Hebrew Israelites watch nations rise, they watch nations fall. Four beasts, Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece. We pray for the fall of the fourth beast. Under the iron foot of Rome, we long to go home. A hopeless nation lies dead in the valley of the dry bones. Simulation of Shemites to Hamite clones. Israelites wrong.
All these lies and delusions, wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of the light. I am awakened, I am awakened.
Israelites enslaved to build a wicked nation. No true identity, only tribulations. Fed scraps of swine, we eat the worst of the animal kind. Used, confused, they set us in high places to be abused. Control the tribe, control the tribe. Our leaders take bribes to continue the lies. Fourth beast behind the scene in the skies, watching with the all-seeing eye. The heathen take flight into a new world order. Hebrews sleepwalking into a wicked system that's gonna fall. Awake, awake, reject Babylon. Hear the trumpet of awakening throughout the day and night. Awake, the Most High's people, the Israelites. The earth has swallowed the flood of deception. The harvest ripe for collection. His people are walking, standing like a mighty army. The Most High has summoned, the Hebrews are coming. Awake, come out of captivity. Awake, you who sleep. Arise, receive the Most High's laws and commandments. We are the Israelites.
In my mind, all these lies and delusions. Wake me up, show me a new dawn. Open your eyes, rise, children of light. I am awakened, I am awakened. Clear my mind and my soul. Gave me a new mind. Oh, made me whole. I rise up.
Quam.
I'll be a new light.
Quam.
I am awakened.
Quam.
I am awakened.
Quam. Yes, you are.
I am